if you're very active on your social media platforms such as your WhatsApp group. And at this time, this particular document, if you can just give you the full document on your screen, it's labeled confidential, and it is also headed there, Office of the President. And it is a letter from the Office of the Principal Secretary in the Ministry of Interior, addressed apparently to all the regional commissioners to Department of Devolution to develop plans for food distribution for possible 21 days lockdown. Well, just in the last couple of hours, the Ministry of Interior, on its part, has dismissed this document as particularly fake and urged Kenyans to disregard it. However, our sources say otherwise. Vincent Odor gives us the details and further interventions to ease life for Kenyans at this time that a lot of information is doing the rounds, and everyone is asking now, after the curfew, certainly the next step as a measure from the government, and it has been preparing us that it would need to take stringent measures, increasingly might very well be a lockdown, and everyone is asking, are we ready for this lockdown? If and when?
This letter from the Office of the Interior and Citizen Services Principal Secretary, signed on his behalf by Paul Famba, was addressed to all regional commissioners. It was informing them that the National Development and Communication Cabinet Committee has directed the Department of Devolution to develop plans for food distribution for possible 21-day lockdown in seeking to step up the war on COVID-19. According to the letter, the department will be required to supply food to various sub-locations depending on the number of persons affected. These will require the regional commissioners to identify food stores in all the sub-locations in their regions in preparation for the food distribution. The Ministry of Interior and Coordination of National Government on its social media pages dismissed the letter as fake, saying the public is advised to regard it as utterly false. Nonetheless, sources indicate that a lot of the groundwork which is in line with a possible lockdown have begun. County and regional commissioners are already mapping out stores in their jurisdictions. Further, within the last 24 hours, Agriculture Principal Secretary Hamadi Boga asked 31 counties to prepare data on available stocks to mitigate COVID-19 food security challenge. The daily briefings by the government have increasingly been spotting more stringent measures as many Kenyans fail to adhere to the guidelines of keeping the disease at bay. The state appears to be playing the delicate balance of not shutting down the country while putting up a strong and effective fight against the coronavirus.
You know, it's very interesting that people are asking for a lockdown and they are unable to follow a curfew. I think it is very important for us to understand what is the meaning of a lockdown. What would a lockdown look like? Because if we don't address this issue of a lockdown and what it looks like, it's very easy to throw it around and say, why is in Kenya locking down the way that we hear other countries are locking down?
As the country grapples with the effects of the pandemic, more is being done to keep the country afloat with least disruptions. In an effort to boost national response to the coronavirus pandemic, President Uhuru Kenyatta has directed the National Treasury to establish the COVID-19 Emergency Response Fund. President Kenyatta has constituted a board that will govern the fund. The seed capital is to be drawn from the exchequer, including monies drawn from the voluntary salary cuts undertaken by the senior ranks of the executive, judiciary, legislature, and county governments. The fund's board will be chaired by Jane Karuku, the Kenya Breweries Managing Director. Other members of the board are Michael Joseph, James Mwangi, Narendra Raval, Joshua Oigara, Jeremy Awori, Washira Waruru, Mohamed Hersi, Phyllis Wakiaga, and Kennedy Kihara, who is the secretary of the board. Interior CS Fred Matiang'i and Council of Governors Chair Wycliffe Oparanya as the joint representative of the Government of Kenya. The government's contribution to the fund will be supplemented by donations from other stakeholders. Vincent Odur, NTV.